Going on, everybody? Daryl Andrews here, Coach D, coming to you with another one of our insightful conversations. Pretty much on doing these lives. That's all it really is a conversation, not necessarily a training, because training is different than what we're doing here. But I've been recently with a lot of my customers doing some training around, especially post pandemic, around team building. And I kind of stopped calling it teamwork training. And I did that a while ago because what I realized is that a lot of people have pulled together teams, but um, a lot of folks don't realize you're ineffective because you pulled together a team, but you didn't team build. you know, by the way, I took my backdrop off so I can give you a little taste of some Florida sunshine, just in case you're in the cold part of the country right now. I'm still representing my Eagles here in Florida. Maybe the only one, last person standing, but I'm gonna stand, man. But anyway, I want to talk to you about this. And so, if you're a leader or if you're an individual that's out there, you work with it in an organization, and you have a group of people that have come together. I won't necessarily call it a team, but a group of people. You're gonna figure out why when I share what I'm about to share. It's my hope that this information, will be helpful in allowing you to see the difference between what people call teamwork and what I call team building. So let's take a moment and talk about team building. Um, Team building is different than teamwork because what a lot of people do is they create teams by hiring people. They'll hire a group of people to come in and do a specific, job, task, responsibility, assignment, things like that. And so, we hire people to do work assignments. And typically, the way it works is most people will hire based upon talent. I don't know how you can just do that nowadays. I think that it has to be more than just talent. It has to be talent and character. That's a whole nother lesson message for another time. Um, because you're going to find out when I talk about team building why that's important. And job fit is also an important aspect of all of this. But if you have any thoughts too, chime in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe I'll pop it up on my screen and just to hear, some of the different opinions that are out there. But so team. When you hire people, you start an organization, you start a project, you pull a team together. And the reason why a lot of organizations struggle with organizational culture, getting people to work together, um, uh, uh, creating opportunities for synergy in the workplace and all of that is because people just pull together these teams. What I'm going to propose to you is let's start all over again with team building. Now, I shared a scenario earlier today with one of my customers. We're actually doing this training earlier with one of my customers. We do most of our stuff virtual now, so very few live, but we do some lives, but mostly virtual. Excuse me. And and I was sharing a scenario, something that excites me. What excites me is when I drive down the road and I look um, in a big empty field and I see a sign, and that sign has basically a simple statement there, and it says "coming soon." And what you see out there is a sign coming soon, and you see a beautiful picture, a rendering of let's say a building or an apartment complex or a mall. And you're like looking at this sign that says coming soon, and you're looking at this field, and all you see is a bunch of dirt. And then what happens is that at some point you start to see the contractors come in and the trucks come in and the hose come in, the dig up stuff and all that stuff. And then the electricians and then the architects and everybody's coming in, and they have their rent, they have their layouts and they have their blueprints. And man, it's like they're getting ready to do work. They're getting busy. They're taking a look at this picture And they're saying, we're going to create this, even though it does not exist at all, except in our minds. The picture tells us that's what's coming. And so, you look at that and you say, man, and then a year later, a year and a half later, 2 years later, guess what, man? You look up and boom, there it is right there. Beautiful building, beautiful facility. My God, that was a picture a year and a half ago. What those people did, and this is important, for those of you out there that are in teams and wonder why your team don't get along together and why things don't work and why your organizational culture is terrible, is because, they took that idea and they began to work on building it. The problem with most organizations is they don't, it's almost like that. If you take that scenario I just shared with you, they just threw all the materials in there and say, build yourself. Could you imagine that? They brought the trucks in, pulled all the people, and said, here, build this building with nobody doing any work. And then we wonder why management doesn't get along, and staff can't stand management, and management can't stand staff, and leaders can't stand employees, and employees can't stand, because you never took the time to build a team. What you did was you pulled a group of people together and said, go get them, Tiger. Spend hundreds of millions of dollars on investing in the company and spend a dime on investing in the people. And we wonder why we are where we're. Well, I hired them. I pay them $500,000 a year. So what? It doesn't matter. You still need to be developed. Still need to be developed. You see, and we think just because a person gets a check that they automatically are going to fit perfectly into my culture. That's crap. It doesn't work that way. So let me take team building and break it down into two concise words. I guess I got this from the influence of my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, because he used to break words down all the time. So a team is basically a unit of people coming together to achieve or pursue a common goal. So it may be employment on a job, working for a business. It may be a nonprofit organization trying to do some type of social work. It could be anything: football, basketball team coming together to try to win a championship. It's a unit of people. All right. And so it's important to have the right people on your team, of course, and that's talent acquisition. That's a whole nother story. But the other part is building. And let me tell you this, here it is. And this is going to be interesting to some of you out there who probably have never heard this before. A building is basically erecting something. Like, you know what I mean? So, all around we're in a condo community here, and it's like they had to erect this thing, you see, and and build it up, or else this place could not be used by the people that are here, because it just wouldn't exist. And so let me give you a new definition of team building. And we're going to throw teamwork in the garbage can, because teamwork don't work most of the time, because folks that never go through team building. But no, we're not going to throw teamwork in the garbage can. We're going to put it on pause. And I'll come back and talk about that. Team building means that you're taking a unit of people that's going to come together with a common goal to erect something. Erect a culture, erect an organization, erect a business, erect a nonprofit organization. This team of people are coming together to erect. But are they being provided with the tools to build what it is we're trying to build? We expect a culture to be built, and people don't even get training. It's so funny. Like, I own a training and development company, and do speaking and coaching and all of that as well. And the number one thing you'll hear, and those out there that know what do the work I do, people will say, I don't have a budget for training. I don't have a budget for developing my people. Oh, I got $500 million in this company, but I don't have a dime for that. I'm like, seriously? You put money into materials, you put money into policy, you put money into politics, but not a dime into your people? And you wonder why we have the problems that we have, the retention issues, the dissension within the ranks, because we don't focus on the people. And that's the part of that's the X factor in the success of an organization: the people. the people. And so you can't do teamwork. I always laugh when some people spend millions, man. They'll put $1 million grant out, not grant, but RFP out for people to do teamwork training. Like, shoot, yeah, you're just giving people $1 million because the reality is that team is not going to work unless you build it. Now, I'm not going to get into all of it. I know some insights. Reach out to our company and we can talk a little bit more about it. I can't get all my stuff away, but I do like certain models that are out there that talk about the team building process. But one model I tell you that I really like where it talks about in the team building process where we are looking at the process of going through some tension to build our team. There's a point a process of tension, and that's good because once you get to the other side of that tension, and we're able to start putting in place work procedures and roles and responsibilities and core values and methods of communications, then you got yourself a team, man, woman, because you were willing to work on building a team, looking at our different personality styles. How do we communicate with each other? How do we communicate with our clients, our customers? You know, look at sports, man. The teams that win are the ones who are the best at communicating with each other. You got to have talent, of course, but they just have a sense of calmness in the way they interact because they know each other. Why do we think in the workplace we don't need the same? It always perplexes me. I've done training for people and I go in sometimes like, how in the world did y'all ever stay together for any period of time? They are going at each other's throats. You're doing the training and people sitting there with their arms folded like that. If you got half of your class talking about with folded arms, that's a broken culture. The people don't even want to be there. And it's their team, it's their organization. They're making me do this. Who are they that's making you do this? It's like the coach of a football team making me play the game. That coach making me play. I don't want to play. Come on, man. We got to do a better job of this. I know I'm a different type of a person. So you're like, man, this dude just comes at you. But I have to because sometimes we need somebody to give us a wake up call. If you don't take the time to build your organization team and invest in your people, then don't even try to build anything because it's eventually going to crumble anyway. Because people aren't robots. Even though we're getting a lot of robots out here with AI and all that, but and imagine what that's going to look like when that time comes. But I just think that, man, the greatest resource and asset we have is our human capital, but we need to build it. All right. So we got to stop talking all this teamwork training, teamwork, make the dream work, man. Look, yeah, no dream working. If forget that, if you don't have good people that you've helped to build a culture where there's a sense of strength, a strength of a sense of respect for one another, a sense of working towards the same goals, a sense of elimination of silos, but you don't get that unless you build it and people get a chance to talk and communicate. I'm not talking about being disrespectful to one another, but building an effective entity, that unit that's going to produce the kind of outcomes that we, desire. So, anyway, this is fresh on my mind because I just got done with a training on it, and boy, we had a great time. And it's been probably about, I guess, probably in the last 2 weeks, we've done about 8 or 9 of them, and virtual team type trainings. And I tell you something, each one of them, I love to see how the people shift when we talk. We're like, Coach, I never thought about that before. We just all come together, start working, and wish for the best, roll the dice. Not today, post pandemic. If you're going to be successful post pandemic, you've got to build your team. And if you want any more information, reach out to me. This is, you got my email in here. Excuse me, my website, but that's my email. If you want to talk about this, brainstorm. I talk to people all the time. I don't do. It's not like I do business with everybody. Sometimes folks just say, Coach, we're trying to do something. Can I get some insight? Maybe down the line we could talk about doing something business wise. But hey, sometimes I take sometimes conversations from time to time and just chat with folks about these things because it's truly my passion. I feel honored that I get to wake up every day and do this stuff. The trainings we do, the coachings we do. So it's not always about me getting a contract. Sometimes it's trying to help organizations get on track. And I got a lot of mentees out here we work with and mentor organizations that we're trying to help. So we got things that we're doing just trying to make a difference after 922 years of doing this stuff. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Why do teamwork if you don't team build? That training is going to be a waste of your money, a waste of your time. You got to build your team if you want your team to be effective. Take care.